Welcome to today.
Right?
Holy crap.
Today's the day.
It's the end of June.
Literally the end of June.
We knew this was happening, and
We knew
yet
it was coming.
It steamrolled us anyway.
Right? We talked about it last week, but that doesn't mean that I'm any more comfortable with it.
I mean, you had a week to process it. You knew it was coming.
I know, but that doesn't make it any easier. But I do
Never does.
I'm a big fan of July for personal reasons, but just like July.
Must be the Leo in you.
Probably. But I am very excited about just the chance to, I'm ready for some of those, less heavy. I feel like I read heavy this month. A little bit heavy, half not. But I did read a little bit differently, and I'm kind of I just want something I can get lost in and be done with in a day. That's where I'm headed for July, I think.
And life was very lifey in June. There was so much happening.
For some reason. Much. Things are happening, but we're into summer season-ish here. We're into summer routine. Here. We're getting into it. 4th of July is coming up, which I actually really enjoy just because things at work get quiet, knock on wood, a little bit. So it's kind of nice to have that ease into the month before we do all the other things.
As long as you didn't jinx it, we'll be fine.
I didn't jinx it. I found wood. It's fine. I was just knocked on all of the things. So we'll be fine. But we are going to do our June wrap up. And this time, I'm going to say this at the beginning. We never say this in the beginning. We always say it at the very end. Subscribe in 25. Subscribe in 25. Hit the buttons so that we know that you were here.
Ding.
Right. And I feel we always say it at the very end. And I'm I forget that people may have lives and have after we said our here's the end.
Who's not watching us till the end?
I mean, we are watching us to the end, but that's,
come on, guys.
We are.
Just click all the buttons now.
Exactly.
Click all the buttons now, and we'll never know if you skirted out early.
No,
it's fine if you click the buttons.
Oh, and we're two away from a little subscriber goal, which we love. And I know that we talked about several of the books that we read this month. We had specific episodes on, so we're not even going to talk about those, right? So I think we each read 6 books this month.
6 books this month, and you can catch 4 of them in the 2 previous episode. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm excited. Episodes.
Plural.
So it was fun to kind of get to go through some of those, which was nice, and talk about them and have them as hey, this is required reading. And then I think the other ones that we read during this month were completely different.
Yes. And we haven't talked about this. We love this part. I never tell you what I'm reading, although I told you as we jumped on here, but you don't know. Yeah. You don't know yet.
No, but also I only get to see what we post on Instagram of hey, here's the book that we that's all. I don't get anything else. And do I remember it? No, I just go, oh, that looks cute, and then I move on. I don't commit it to memory. So this is a brand new thing anyways. So it's fine. So
this is all new. And actually I had to go back through and update my stories because I had read and then moved on and forgotten, and so I had to go back through, and I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, I did the same thing. I'm looking at it. I'm thank God we have that.
Just making sure.
Because I'm looking at it. Yeah, I have to do the same. I have 2. I think I have 2 books that I have to add that I haven't added. Yes. I don't think I've added Ocean, and I don't think I added.
That's what I had to add.
Disco Witches. Yeah, I had the last 2 I didn't
That's
add.
exactly what I did. Yeah, I had to add my Ocean, and I had to add my Pride books. And it looks like I did a lot of reading in the last week, when in fact I did not. It was throughout the month of June. So
how are they going to know? Nobody's going to know.
Do you know what the beautiful thing is that I was thinking too?
What?
So the June books that I'm going to talk about are bookends, because it was the first book in June that I read that didn't have a theme for our thing, and the last book I read in June.
That.
So
that's perfect.
I have bookend books.
Okay, so what was the first book that you read in June?
So the first one that I read in June, so long ago, it was the 3rd book of Emily Wilde's Compendium of Fairies. Yes.
Yes.
I had to come back to this one. And part of me was kind of because I read book 1 and book 2 at the very beginning of the year, and I was waiting. I was waiting to read this one because you had it, and I was just going to steal it from you. And so I did read it, and I kind of had that thought of I've been away from it too long. Maybe I don't need to finish it. Maybe I'm okay with where I'm at.
Right.
But immediately jumping in, I was like, this is pure sunshine.
It's
Like,
just so
it is
cute.
just so cute. And I love it. I do call it Sunshine Academia because that is what it is. It's like, it's scholarly. Like, we're learning about all these fairies, all the fae, and all their little things. And, like, you just can't take it so seriously, but from a scholarly point, like it's super cute
Yeah,
because
it's
she's
very
keeping notes and she's doing research and she's making friends along the way. And I thought it was great. And like the little troubles that they get into, along the way, it's adorable. I loved it.
It is. I
So
think
that's
of
the one
her
I
as
kicked off my
like
month with.
Belle of the Fae, is I think how I describe her. Right? She's
Yeah.
very bookish. She's very like not like other girls,
No.
but she's also very much just like she's in it and she's making the best of everything that comes to her. And
And it's like no excuses. She just is who she is, and she makes no apologies for like writing in her journal, like keeping her scholarly records, which it does feel a little different than Dear Diary.
yes,
But like the little scholarly journal that she has, and she's like, yeah, I'm writing you again, and like I need to recap, and like I love that point of view because it feels I don't want to say historic, but it feels documentarianism. I don't
we
know.
like it. That's fine.
It works,
That
but that's
it
how it
does.
feels to me. And
It
so it
does.
feels like it's kind of like you're watching an adventure, but also you're in the adventure.
Yeah, and I feel like this one is set so much more in the Fae world that it's
Yes.
so different from the other two, and not so different in a way that like they don't match, but it's just this one is set in the Fae realm mostly
Yes.
versus having Fae in the human realm.
Yes.
And so I think that's a little bit different, and it kind of takes her on a little bit of a journey that we didn't expect. And I like that.
And that it's fun to document and see that, because now she's the anomaly. She's
Yeah.
the weirdo. She's like experiencing all of these things that most humans never do.
They don't
And
get
she's
to.
like getting an front row up close and personal.
Probably
Like,
more of a front row seat than she'd like, I think, at times.
yeah.
She's like, I would
Yeah.
just love to be normal
I would
again.
just like to, watch. And what's that?
Not have things move around.
Yeah, like I just want to watch and observe. I just want to observe. I
Observe.
don't need to be
Yeah.
involved. Yes, from a scientific
Nope.
standpoint. So to be curious to see, because I think, is there another book in that series coming? Did we
Oh.
decide? Did we
don't
think
know.
it ended?
It does say that there is no fourth book necessarily. She's not against it. Heather Fawcett's not against it, but she was like, meh, I'm open to it, like set in the same world, but I don't know that there's going to be with these characters specifically. Though I don't know if I really wanted to read about anybody else right now in that book. I just kind of thought it wrapped up nicely.
I was going to say, it wrapped up very well, so I'm good with it. Yeah.
So my first book of June, I almost said the wrong month because I don't know where we are anymore. My first month of June is a revisit of an author that we know that I love. And I actually talked about her books in the May episode, the May wrap-up episode. So I think I had mentioned that Angelique Bosman had written another book called Hay Bales and Heartstrings, and I got the ARC copy of it, and I got to read it, and it was adorable and so cute, and all of these great things. And it's set in a time, well, not in a time, but it's set with a woman who is getting ready to marry her fiance, and she, is doing all of the wedding stuff and they're getting everything ready. She goes on her bachelorette party, which is basically just like a night out with her buddies. It's not like any big crazy like LA trip, like Vegas trip.
Wild
it's just like,
thing.
right. It's just her. She just wants to go and dance a little bit. And I don't even think she drinks. Like, I think she's just like hanging, right? And it gets really rainy and stuff. And she goes home. She can't get a hold of the fiance. So she's like, hey, I'm going to drive over to his house, say hi or whatever. And she wakes up in the hospital. And you're like, what happened? So it turns out she gets into a car accident.
Oh no.
She loses the ability. She's paralyzed from the waist down. She loses her memory. So she can't remember her fiance. She can't remember her best friend. She can't remember what happened. She's got nothing. She's like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going on. She's an artist. And she's like, I don't even have I don't want to paint anymore. She's wheelchair bound. Her best friend's taking care of her, all these things. And so she slowly is getting her memory back and things like that. And she's like, you know what? I can't keep relying on everybody around me to help me heal. I need to go do it myself. So she goes and she finds a healing house almost. And basically it's a woman who owns this home on a farm. And what she does is she takes in one person at a time and helps them like with physical therapy and, mental help and nutrition and like all those things to kind of get them back to where they were. And she's like, I want to go do this. I want to say it's in Georgia. I think she was in Charleston. And so I think she goes down to Georgia. It's a little house in Georgia. She meets, I think her name is Nora, who runs the place, who's wonderful. And so it's her and Nora, like, getting themselves back together. She does, all of her healing and stuff, but she's trying to figure out who she is at this point. Mm-hmm. And she's like, do I want the same things I wanted before? Do I still want to be married? Yes. Do I want to figure out what's going on? And there are so many, like, twists in the book. She does meet Nora's son, whose name is Tyler, who works on the farm, and he like helps her with her healing through like letting her feed the goats and like, walking along with her as she literally is learning to walk again and trying to do all these things. So a lot happens with all of them. Nothing bad on her side, of course, but there's so many things that happen throughout the story that are just like, oh my gosh, and you just have to keep turning the page. Right? Mm-hmm. Like every time you're like, oh, okay, I get that. Then it's like, oh, turn the page and something else is going on. And it wasn't in a way that it was like too much. It just all kind of flowed with the story. And I think the craziest part of this is that unknowingly, it is the retelling of a real story. Oh. So Angelique ended up meeting somebody where this was almost her exact story. She had already plotted the story out. And the reason I know this is because Angelique and I actually chatted, right? Like she and I were on Instagram and we were talking and she sent me voice notes. She has a lovely voice. And so I got a little bit of like the background of it. And she was like, oh my gosh, I met this woman who like she and I had seen each other before at work and blah, blah, blah. And I had told her, hey, I just finished like plotting out the story and here's my thoughts on it. And the woman was like, oh my God, that's my story. And so told her what happened, and the two were so weirdly similar, but they had never exchanged this information before. So it was a very like eerie, yes. It's not the exact same like towards the end of things because Angelique took it in a little bit different of a direction. But for the most part, all the things that happened were insanely the same. And so that made me like learning that made me love the story even more.
That's a very Big Magic moment.
Right?
Like that reminds me of Big Magic for sure. Like, yes. And it's obvious that story needed to be told. Yes, by somebody, and it just so happened. And then to have them meet each other was bonkers. Yes. Right? In like a work setting. So highly recommended that story. Clearly, I still remember it very well, even though I read it a month ago, because, we are at the end of the month, and yet I've read all these other things, and it's still like bright in there. So I liked that one. Highly recommend it. Again, Angelique Bosman, Hay Bales and Heartstrings, which is a super cute name too. Yes. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and it's not in the same series as Inked to Love or Swiped to Love. It's completely different. It's a different story, standalone story all its own. It doesn't have the same characters, so it was just nice to dive into something else that she wrote.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah, which I enjoyed.
Same cozy, you still know what to expect with a similar author, but you don't have to relive the same story, which, sometimes is a breath of fresh air.
I want to say I received my copy on June 1st, and I finished it on June 1st. Literally finished it. I was going to say, it
was very quick. Yes. That was the one you started with.
And I devour all of her. Right? I devoured all of her stories. So it's just another one to add to that list.
Perfect. Oh, I love that.
So what did you read next?
So my next one, I'm kind of getting into like the summer pool reads, easy, like just super cutesy, no drama, just easy. So I actually picked up 3 of these that I found. Oh. So this is by MC Beaton. And this is Agatha Raisin Mysteries. So there's like 30 or 40 like little stories, but so like they're all in the same world. And I was like, oh God, did I just step smack dab in the middle of a series? Yes, but no. So there's a whole bunch, and it revolves around Agatha and her investigative services and like solving mysteries and stuff like that, but you can pick up anywhere. So the 3 I have, weirdly enough, are back-to-back ones. Oh, all right. Nice. So like, they probably mention characters or like we already know the world and that kind of thing. But this one was super cute. So it's this older, very posh British woman. And I'm picturing like Kathy Bates in Matlock.
Oh, I know exactly what that is.
Have you seen, and like where she's got like her French twist and she's in a full suit, but like think wardrobe level up, like designer, because she does drop English designer names.
which I would not know. I'd be like, cool, that sounds great. I'm sure it looks
I'm
lovely.
like, yes, I've heard of these things. I know of these things. And so it's her and her assistant, and they're trying to solve this mystery of a warehouse fire. But someone's trying to throw them off the mystery, and there's a fake leg in the bushes that they find. So they're like, whoever's doing this is trying to misdirect them and then make them look incapable. And so they start to suspect, and then the big turning point is death by donkey. And this donkey's name is Whiz Waz. Okay.
Naturally. Of course. What a wonderful name for a donkey.
Right. And the donkey hates everybody except the woman that it supposedly killed and Agatha. So that's like where our clues kind of wrap around. And I'm like, this is great. Like, we're not taking this seriously, but we are. Like, it's serious business. And she's really trying to figure all of this out. So, you know, super cutesy, super easy. I read that one. I'm gonna dive into my other two that I have just because they're just easy, cozy reads. Like, you know what you're getting. There's no pressure, but like a donkey named Whiz Waz.
A donkey named
Can
Whiz
you
Waz
even?
is just the thing.
I was like, this is fantastic. Kathy Bates versus Whiz Waz. Like, I can't. So that is what I have in my head.
Which is fair.
And I think it's just fabulous. So I'm excited to see what other adventures we get into.
I like that. It almost feels like my Agatha Christie novels, right? The ones that are just like, it's one at a time, and yes, she wrote them all, but they're not all the same thing. They each have their own story, and you can pick them up anywhere you want. So I can start at number 29 if I wanted to.
And I have to show you, like, I don't know if you can see this, but look at the author. Aww. Is she not adorable?
She's so sweet. The queen of crime.
I'm like,
I like it. And it feels like cozy mystery, right? It feels like it's not super like thriller-y. I'm not having to monitor my heart rate. No. My ring's not like, you're stressed. I'm like, no, I'm just reading.
No, I'm just reading. No, super cute, fun, like crotchety old Kathy Bates.
Perfect.
Posh Kathy Bates. It's great.
I will have to add that to mine, I think, because
there's a whole bunch. Yes, there's a whole bunch to find. You could pick any of them up. Like I said, I just happened to stumble upon these, and the covers, I'm trying to see if they're in my... Nope, I don't have them. You can't see them on that shelf. But they're all very similar. So that's kind of how I knew. Like, that's how they caught my eye, that they went together. And I was like, you know what? These are super fun and cozy. Let's do it.
Perfect.
So that's how I closed my month out. Like, I feel like that's leading me into more of the pool reads.
The summer session.
Coming soon. What else did you read?
I read two other ones. So I started with Hay Bales and Heartstrings, read these next two, and then got into the other stuff that we were reading for the month. Yes. And I went to go find these two because I was like, oh, I need to grab them real quick because I want to show them. I'm pretty sure I already passed them on. I already lent them out because I enjoyed them so much. So, and I actually read them out of order. So they're two books from the same series. And this series has gotten a lot of play, heat, something. Either you love it or you hate it, I think.
Okay.
So I read the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. We love a bookstore, right?
Yes.
We love a bookstore. But that's actually the second book. So I saw it at the store and was like, yep, grabbed it. And I was like, the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore seems awesome. I want to read that one. And then when I was at the store, I was like, they have this one, but they don't have the first one. And I was like, it's fine. I'll just get the first one later. So I went to the store to find the first one because I had to go to a different one. I went to my little indie bookshop. They didn't have all of them. So I went to a bigger bookstore and I was like, I'm going to grab this one. So I grabbed the Pumpkin Spice Café. So Pumpkin Spice Café is first. Cinnamon Bun Bookstore is next. Now, reading them out of order, you kind of already know what's going to happen because they talk about, right? So I probably should have read them in order, but it didn't really ruin anything because you know what's going to happen anyways if you read a little rom-com story. Very cozy, very cute, very easy. I loved the characters. I cannot tell you which one I liked better because I liked them both. So it's all in the same town. Okay. I want to say it's called Dream Harbor, which is cute anyways. It's a small little town. You've got obviously the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which keeps changing names. So apparently it was a bookstore purchased by this man for his daughter. She's like, yeah, it's mine, but like she has somebody else. I think Hazel is the one who runs it. Hazel runs it and loves doing it, and obviously doesn't want to buy the bookstore, but loves running it. And it keeps changing names. And so now it's the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and every Saturday they have cinnamon buns at the bookstore. They host book book clubs and things like that for the people in the town, and like everybody's really interconnected, right? Everybody knows everybody. Yep. Everybody knows everybody's business, and that's kind of the vibe that you get.
Small town vibe, yes.
Right, and Hazel at the beginning of the story is very much single, and she feels a little bit weird, and she's kind of like, I don't really mesh with anybody, haven't really found anybody, I'm not like, everybody else is kind of super into all this stuff, and I just kind of feel like I'm on the outside. And so she starts finding these little clues that are in the bookstore in some of the books. So she's like, there will be a book on the bookshelf that's upside down, and it's got like a line highlighted in it. And she's like, what? Like, who's defacing my books? They're dog.
I was like, are these like, new books?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But they're in like the romance section, right? And so it's like, there's all this different stuff. So she's kind of following the clues with the help of one of the other gentlemen who lives in town. He's newer into town, things like that. The Pumpkin Spice Café is obviously about a pumpkin spice cafe. So this is a cafe that is left to the niece of one of the women who used to own it. So basically she's like, look, I'm going to go and live my wildest, craziest life out on the beach somewhere. And so I'm giving you the cafe and it's yours to run. And this woman's like, she used to work for like a lawyer of some sort. She was like a PA or something. And so she works for this man, and she goes in and she finds that he has passed away at his desk. And she's like, oh my gosh, my life is destined to be this way. I'm going to die at my desk alone and sad if I don't do something that I love. So she moves to Dream Harbor, and it's her job to run the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And she has no idea what she's doing. She's never been an owner, like all of these different things. So she's trying to figure out while things are happening at the store, and, you know, the fridge keeps breaking weirdly and someone tries to break in. And so she's trying to figure out the mystery of what's going on alongside one of the other gentlemen who has lived there his whole life, and the kind of friend group. So you've got a friend group, and you've also got these different players. Not only are those the first two books, there are two more books. There's one about a Christmas tree farm, and there's one about like a strawberry patch.
Yeah.
So now I'm in the place where, do I wait? Because I know the Christmas tree one is next. I know. I know the Christmas tree one is next, and I don't want to read it after. Like, I don't want to read it in the middle of summer, but I do. But also I want to read the strawberry one, because I think the strawberry one has to do with summer. Because the Pumpkin Spice Cafe...
But to do that...
Right, but they're all different
through the Christmas
seasons.
tree.
Pumpkin Spice Cafe is like Halloween time, it's fall. The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore is springish. And then you've got the Christmas tree one, obviously. So you've got, and then I think the summer one is actually the strawberry one. So I'm like, can I read the strawberry one next? I don't know. But I went to the store looking for this one Pumpkin Spice Cafe book, and I couldn't find it on the shelf. And the lovely gentleman at the store was like, can you help me find this? And he was like, sure. So he goes over to look for it. And he's gone for a while. And he comes back and he's like, I found it. And he like beckons me over. And I'm like, sure. And he was like, there's a table. And I was like, a table? He was like, there's a table of all of them. I was like, all of them? I only needed one.
He's like, they are all here more than you ever imagined.
I was like, there's 4? And he was like, apparently. And he goes, I said, I didn't even look at the table because I was looking on the shelf. He goes, so was I, which is why it took me so long. So now I have all 4 of them, and I've only read 2. But so I'm excited.
Yes.
They're cute. They're so cute. They're cute. They're cozy. They're sweet. They're easy. I've heard some people who are like, oh, it's too easy. It's too predictable. But that's kind of what I want.
I mean, that is like the epitome of a rom-com. Like,
yes. I know what's going to happen.
We know what's happening. That's why we're reading.
Exactly. So I think there's some people who expected it to be a lot more. And they're like, oh, it doesn't get super deep. Oh, it doesn't, like, it's not super, you know, maybe there's like 1 pepper spice level, right? But it's nothing super crazy. It's easy to read anywhere. It's adorable, and I highly recommend both of them.
Yeah, because you've already passed them both off.
Yeah, I literally was like downstairs, and I was like, where are my books? And of course my kids were like, you're mad about losing a book? I'm like, no, I'm mad about losing 2 books.
No, 2. Let's clarify.
Right? And
there
the
are
fact
2.
That they're not there tells me that I had to have passed them on. So I'll be on a book hunt later.
Yeah, you'll have to. If you have borrowed those books, please let Meg know.
I think I know who it is. I will text
you
her
have
after
an
this.
order of people that you go through, so yes. Check down the line.
Who was it? Yeah, and I'm pretty, like, I can almost remember doing it. So it's one of those where I'm like, is that a dream? Did I do that? Did I think that?
Yeah. Did this actually happen?
Yep.
Am I just stuck in a rom-com? Tiny town rom-com?
If only. I will tell you, it's these kinds of books that make me want to like move somewhere.
Move to
That
a small
one,
town.
Small Town Big Magic, like I'm ready. Like take me somewhere small. I'm
are
going.
ready for small town. So
Right.
are Pumpkin Spice Café and Cinnamon Bun Bookstore on the same little street? Are they in
They're
like the
next to
same
each
town?
other.
Okay.
Yes, they're next to.
Okay,
So they're all
perfect.
next to each other. And then I think because in the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, I think they introduced the woman who's taking over the Christmas tree farm. But you don't see a lot of her, but you definitely,
Yes.
they're like, are we opening the Christmas tree farm again? And she's like, now. And you're like, oh, that's the next book. Like,
That's
we'll
happening.
see what's happening. But it's nice that they're all connected and you get a little bit of the one couple in the
Yeah.
second book. And it's just sweet. So when I find them,
I
you can
think
have them.
you'll-
When I figure
I
out who I
think you'll
gave
be
them to.
reading them before Christmas. I feel like
Maybe.
it's happening.
Maybe. We'll see.
I
'Cause
mean,
then I'll have
tis
to
the season, because like I know
step
it's not
in.
Christmas tree season, but like it is July.
It is
Well,
Christmas in July.
it is
Almost
kind of
July.
July.
Yeah,
I mean,
that'll be
here
the
we
next
are.
month.
Pool
Right.
reads, beach
Right.
reads, here we go.
Speaking of the summer, for us, we are going to do something a little different. And that doesn't mean that we're actually like going anywhere or anything crazy is happening. We are just going to catch up on some of our reading. Because though we read every week, every month, all of these things, there are certain series, books, things like that that we want to get into. And we don't want to bore anybody with just like the same books for 4 weeks.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for the summer, we are actually going to do a July wrap up and an August wrap up. So we're not taking the summer off because we're still reading, but
Oh,
we are
no.
kind of, filling our read lists so that we can come back in the fall up, and have plenty to share because I know you have a series you want to read. I have a couple series that I want to read.
Yes.
I actually bought an entire series when I was in Ireland and did not read it. It's just sitting there next to my bed, all lovely in order. But I'm like,
Yes.
I want to read
It's
that one.
time.
So it is.
It's time. But also, like, the books, like we've talked about, we're not going to have, and it's like, okay, are we going to talk about the same book to death for the next
Right.
month? No. We're not going to give any spoilers right now, but, stick with us.
Exactly.
You'll see what's
So
happening.
it is not that we are going anywhere. You will still get to see us. We just won't be doing weekly episodes. We'll do a month roundup at the end of July, and then we will do a roundup at the end of August, and then we will be back in September with regular episodes once again.
As planned. Also, if you miss us, go back and watch our other episodes.
Exactly. Or chat
Like
with
and
us on
subscribe,
Instagram.
because you might miss us. You
might
might
miss
miss
us.
us.
Yeah. We've got an
And
idea
it's
for
okay
a
if you
couple
do.
shorts, so we'll
Come
put some
find
stuff
us
out there.
on the other socials.
All the other places. Exactly.
All the other places. You can find us there. We will be
Yes.
back.
And we would love to hear what you're reading. This summer we'll still be active on the other social places, but we would love to hear what it is that you are reading this summer. And if there are things that you recommend, we'll do our own little summer book club where we can just all talk about what we're reading over
Chat about
on
what we're
Instagram
reading.
or Threads or something like that. So we're there.
Yeah.
We're here. We're hanging out. We're just by the pool, hopefully, reading.
Which is wild, because I know we were like, it's July, and we're going to read pool reads. But those are not the books that I'm diving into.
She's like, I'm not doing pool reads. I have so many. I was just looking at it today. I have so many one-offs that I'm like,
Ooh,
must
good
read,
for
must read, must read, that
you.
I don't know exactly which one I'm going to jump into next. Like, I got to the point where I
yeah.
went to the bookstore and I had seen the same book like 3 times, and finally I was like, I'm just buying it. I did that twice. So I'm going to jump into
I
those
go
and
to
see
the
what I like.
bookstore and I'm like, I have that one, I have that one, I have that one, I have that one. I'm like, I should really go home and read. Like, clearly I have a lot to do.
I was so good, and I had an eye doctor appointment where my youngest had to come with me, which is not always fun for a kid to sit at the eye doctor, and he'd never been to one before, so he was like, what is happening? And afterward, we were right next to the bookstore, and I said, do you want to jump into the bookstore and see if you want to pick something out? Your behavior was great, like, let's reward this with something we can do. And he was like, yeah, sure. I went in, we got him what he wanted, and I didn't buy a single book. I didn't even make him stop and wait while I looked. I was so good. I was so good.
The restraint.
Right? Not to mention, I think I had probably already purchased books like 2 weeks before, but that's fine. But still,
You were
I
like,
could go every
they're
week and be
like,
fine.
oh, you again? You're back again, huh? And you're like, please
They roll
don't.
out my specific carpet that just goes to the places that I always go to.
Yes.
It just,
They got your little footsteps traced, yes. Ah, we
Right.
got this new one in. You might be
This-
interested in,
we
ma'am.
haven't switched our tables, so pass by the ones you've already seen. It got to that point where I
Exactly.
was like, we haven't reset, like, I had gone so many times that they hadn't reset the books yet to like switch the tables up, and I was like, I could bypass this whole section because I either have it or don't need it.
Perused.
Right? I was like, so I can go back here to the places that I missed last time. So, and I've started taking pictures of ones where I'm like, okay, I know I want
coming
this.
back for you.
I will be
You're
back.
on my list.
Yes. So now it's a photo list.
Yeah, I got those too.
Yeah. So, on that note, we will be back later in July. We hope that you are happy reading, and if you missed any of our episodes, go back and give them a watch. And otherwise, we will see you on the socials. So until we see you later this month.
In July. Holy crap.
Right?
I bet the time flies by quickly anyway.
It will, because we'll be reading.
It's going to go by so quick.
Who knows how many
Can't
we'll
wait to
have
see
when we
what
come back.
everybody's reading.
Right.
Yes.
I'm excited. So we will see you very soon, and happy reading.
Catch you on the flip side.
Flip side of July. It was great to have you join us for today's chat. If you'd like to continue the conversation, provide a recommendation, or simply say hi, pop over to Instagram at wine.read.wine, or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next episode. Happy reading!